Hey everyone, it's John Bollinger with Premier Guitar, and here are the top 10 rig rundowns of the decade. Click subscribe and share your favorite rundown below. Enjoy.
For the gig in the new Yardbirds before a guy named Robert Plant got it, and he was also up for the gig in Deep Purple before Ian Gillan got it as well. And he bought this guitar in, I would say, September of 1968 when he was the opening act for the Farewell Cream tour.
Right.
And he bought it in Chicago. And by the time, this is what he says, by the time he reached New York City at Madison Square Garden, the front pickup had died, so Manny's Music, the famous Manny's Music, put this humbucker in the front, as you would.
Yeah.
And he owned it all these years and ended up selling it to me in August 2014, so it's my 4th year with it. And I always tell Terry it's his guitar, and I'm just like a custodian. He can always borrow it back when he wants, and I've seen him subsequently. He's a good friend of mine, and I use it every night.
Well, this happened to me last night, and this is a common thing with this model. It's a 61 Les Paul.
Legit 61 Les Paul, the first year of the SG, but still called the Les Paul back
Les
then.
Paul, yeah. And lovely checking on here. But yeah, last night, which is a common thing with this model, either, you know, usually right here in the neck, where the neck joint meets the body, kind of cracks there. But last night, I found out that this whole section had been entirely cracked all the way through the back, and the only thing really hanging on to holding it to the body is this electrical piece right here.
So your 61 SG is being held together by duct tape.
That's right.
Yeah,
a little dovetail there.
Yeah.
Very rock and roll, man.
That is very rock and roll. So other than the gaff tape, it's all stock.
Yeah. Yep,
So-
entirely stock. Yeah.
God, that's great, man. Tell me the whole story on this.
Well, this is a 1987 standard, and this was one of the first two that Gibson gave him when he first got his Gibson deal in '87. So this started on the road on the Appetite for Destruction tour.
Wow.
And as you can see, it's served its time. It's been broken several times. It was his main guitar through the Appetite and most of the Use Your Illusion tours as well.
Wow.
You know.
Now, you've been with Slash since, for how long now?
I started in '88.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Yeah, so you and that guitar have a lot of miles.
we go back.
Yeah.
You know, he was playing with Alice Cooper, and the cherry fell out of his cigarette, landed right here. He was jamming with Steve Winwood, Nile Rodgers, playing a Hendrix song, and he did one of these neck bends, snapped the neck right in half. The headstock came up and hit him in the face, and the guitar was dangling by its strings. And that was a real rock and roll moment there.
Yeah, that is great. That's great.
All the gear, so let's dive right into the guitars. The guitar everyone likes to hear about most is Blue. Billy's guitar he got many years ago for his birthday, and it's the same guitar. He's still playing it. There's a pic of him there on the back. Is there anything particular he's done, I guess, in recent history? Because I'm sure he's done a lot of stuff to it.
Uh,
It's a Seymour Duncan SH4, and it just sounds great. And not really much. I mean, this is the biggest mod, having the pickup angled like that. It's a completely different sound than having it just straight, like on a Les Paul.
What do you think he gets out of it? What does he prefer? What do you hear
Well,
with the angle?
I'm still trying to figure it out in my mind why it sounds that way, but it just does. It's something different. You know, like Eddie Van Halen, same thing. His guitar has the pickup angled. But
What songs is he using on this? Is probably traditionally the older stuff.
all the older stuff, yeah. It's all E flat.
And what about strings?
but you actually built your guitar.
Yeah, I make them, made them in a machine shop.
Unbelievable. So this isn't like parts that you
No.
bought and then bolted together.
No, planks of wood, and the original ones, we made the necks out of wood, but I had a mold made out of graphite.
Really?
So I didn't want to make it anymore. It's a hassle. I don't have patience.
So how'd you get into that? How'd you start making guitars?
This guy just walked in one day with a guitar into the shop, and he was working on it, and he was doing it wrong, you know? And he asked me, he needed something, and I'm like, what are you doing with that thing? And he's like, oh, I'm, chopping it up, then I could sand this. I'm like, give me that fucking thing. I put it on a machine, and I made it perfect for him. He was like, ooh. And then, he started working in our shop on guitars, and The one I made, I had drawn it on a book cover in high school. You know?
Yeah.
Your guitars.
All right, so I switched over to vaults a while ago, and normally I carry 6 guitars with me. Looks like I have an extra one. I just got some new kind of sandblasted mahogany guitars from Fender, so there's a couple extras in here. And this is it, one of them. But it's basically just sandblasted mahogany. Same specs as my Jazzmaster, painted black headstock. 81 and a 60 in this one. I have a het set in the other one. Simple 1 volume knob, 3-way switch, compound radius fretboard, jumbo frets, ebony board, bolt-on, string through. Simple.
How do they get the wood texture like that?
I'm not really sure. I haven't asked Alex over there how they do that, but I'm sure, they probably stick it in a media blaster if I had to guess. What I'm trying to figure out is how they get the paint on there like that. I'm not really sure if they stay, it could be a stain and then maybe they take away or something, but I don't know.
Noise or effects that he doesn't want to come through. It's the one that he's put together, and it looks like it's been through the mill, old, wore out, but it's been going through this for the past 5 or 6 years that I've known it, so it's getting more and more wore out. You can see. These are the machines that I had bought a long time ago for Stevie's guitar, and I guess he noticed them on somewhere, or maybe he didn't, I don't know, but they're on here, so I'm just taking that's where he saw it from. But I bought these for Stevie a long time ago and put it on his guitar, and when I saw this one, I saw that and I went, wow, deja vu.
Does he have the finish then sanded down on the neck?
Well, it's just the way he wanted it, smoother. This is kind of sticky sometimes, like today it's real humid. It can feel sticky later on tonight. And this will too, but it's more slick.
Studio that you're thinking of taking out live?
Well, you know what? All of these guitars, I probably own about, I think 263 guitars is the count. Right
You
now.
think probably? That's pretty
Right
exact.
now. And I keep giving them away, but they just keep showing up. So, but the guitars that I collect are actually not vintage as much as they are sentimental or usable. Like if you notice, a lot of these guitars are very different. There's 7-strings, there's baritone guitars, there's small guitars, there's heart guitars, there's double necks and all sorts of stuff. But I used to have them all in storage, and whenever I needed one, I'd have to see what I have and then send somebody to get it. So I thought, okay, I'm building this room, I might as well hang them all on the wall, and it looks kind of juicy too.
Oh, kind of.
I love this walking in there going. So I can just come in and just pick a guitar and pick an amp and then just go for it, But for the most part, the record that I just finished,
Which we use once in a while. So what I want to do is I'll start you right here with his main guitar that he's using this tour.
Alrighty.
Okay. This guitar is a 1967 SG. Okay. He thought it was a little older, but we dated it off the serial number.
Okay.
The pots have been changed 1,000 times because he sweats and these get rusty and you got to change them. So this has all been basically changed. Pickups get changed. Anyways, this is, like I said,
Give us some specifics
okay.
if you can remember the pots and the pickups, because people are going to want to know this.
Well, it's just standard Gibson
Okay,
pots I put
just
back
make
in.
sure there's
500K,
okay.
nothing funky, nothing crazy.
Okay.
Wired standard, just like anybody else would.
Okay.
Tones, volumes, 2 pickup, everything works. Nothing funky there. These are custom wound Seymour Duncans. The DC resistance is 7.8, 7.7. So that's kind of important that they're all right around that same kind of vibe. Okay. So that really is our consistency.
Do you know, would you say,
The guitars at the
a
time you
Seymour
were playing
Duncan
didn't
pickup?
have that you needed?
The basic thing was I didn't have any money, so I couldn't buy any of those guitars. So I could look at them in brochures, the Fenders and the Gibsons or whatever, even the Hofners, who were the sort of English copies, emulations of those, and I couldn't afford any of them. So it was like, make a guitar, and that's the only way.
Yeah.
So that was it. Having taken up the challenge, it was, let's make something better than anything that's ever been out there, because both me and my dad had that kind of attitude. If it's worth doing to the max, So it became a challenge to try and take the guitar a step forward. And in some ways I think we succeeded, partly by luck, partly by good design, but there's a lot of things about this which became standard later on, which were our ideas. So I'm pretty proud of what we did, out of bits and pieces. As you know, it was made out of all sorts of stuff that was just lying around. I'm actually shocked myself that it's still here. And it's been around the world I don't know how many times now, but she still works. And, with very little maintenance really, except a bit of refinishing by Greg Fryer a few years ago.